I'm Will Aldrich, and coming up on Mountaineer Playbook, I'll tell you about a former West Virginia pitcher who is turning heads early in his professional career.
I'm Taylor Kennedy, and coming up on Mountaineer Playbook, I'll tell you how over 1,200 West Virginia natives take the country road, which leads to here at Milan Puskar Stadium.
I'm Taylor Bresnick, and coming up on Mountaineer Playbook, I'll tell you a bit about the WVU gymnastics team as they head into the NCAA Regional Championships this weekend.
I'm Ireland Viscount, and coming up next on Mountaineer Playbook, I'm going to tell you about how one of the members at West Virginia University on the swim and dive team is out here making history. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Mountaineer Playbook. I'm Ireland Viscount.
And I'm Mark Schoenster. On this, our fourth episode, we'll follow a Mountaineer out to Toronto, talk about a Fairmont native who has come back home, and discuss some athletes who are thriving in the pro season.
Alec Manoa helped the 2018 Mountaineers break attendance records at Mon County Ballpark. His outstanding pitching earned him a spot in the MLB with the Toronto Blue Jays, where his development is ahead of schedule. Will Aldrich has more on his rise.
When Mountaineer pitcher Alec Manoa was drafted 11th in the 2019 MLB draft, his timetable to the major leagues seemed like an arrival in 2022. But with a dominant showing during spring training, the Blue Jays may have a much faster track for the right-hander, despite his long pitching layoff due to last year's canceled minor league season.
It's been pretty good for me, just to kind of understand that, you know, the stuff plays. Kind of just go out there, be yourself. You don't need to be too much. You don't need to, shoot yourself down. Just go out there, stay level-headed, and kind of just let the game take care of the rest. Just do everything that I can control.
While pitching for the Mountaineers, Alec Manoa is known as a two-pitch pitcher, but the 6'6" right-hander has recently developed his changeup into a main repertoire pitch. While displaying high command during the spring, Manoa has put himself on the top 10 list of Toronto's top prospects.
It was right here at Monongahela County Ballpark where Alec Manoa put his name into the national spotlight. Finishing his junior season 9-4 with a 2.08 ERA with 144 strikeouts, Manoa showed scouts that he had what it takes to compete at the next level.
While displaying impressive command for such a young pitcher, dominant outings in the spring against teams like the Yankees blew up Toronto's social media. Striking out 15 hitters in just 7 innings, Blue Jays fans are pushing for an earlier call-up from Manoa than previously expected.
Without minor league play, you're going to have some guys who fall off a bit. You're going to have some guys who take great strides. And Alec Manoa's name kept coming up as one guy who really committed to his body, to his pitching, and took those strides. And
During our conversation, Matheson referred to Alec Manoa as the star of the camp for the Toronto Blue Jays. Keegan says that Manoa is a much more mature prospect because of his ability to locate his high 90s fastball, unlike some of the other minor league pitchers he saw in camp. The next stop from Alec is likely a trip up north to play for the Blue Jays AA affiliate, New Hampshire Fisher Cats. But according to Matheson, a September call-up to the big leagues is still on the table for the right-hander. Ireland, back to you.
Thanks, Will. A former Mountaineer that is doing us proud. Speaking of proud, there is a history of in-staters who have contributed to the football team, right, Mark?
Absolutely, Ireland. The rich tradition of West Virginia natives competing for WVU's football team dates back to the program's first team in 1891. Taylor Kennedy has the latest on the historical lineage of West Virginia natives.
There have been over 1,200 West Virginia natives to compete in Morgantown for West Virginia University, including 20 players on this year's roster. The historical lineage of West Virginia natives competing in the Gold and Blue dates back to the guys like Sam Huff and Chuck Halley competing here in Morgantown. The Mountaineers struck gold with landing former Spring Valley High School 4-star prospect Doug Nestor. Nestor spent the last 2 seasons in Blacksburg at Virginia Tech. WVU head football coach Neil Brown says that Nestor will play a vital role this upcoming season.
Our hope is that he's going to be a significant player for us, and I haven't seen anything that makes me think any different.
Younger people may not know who some of the older West Virginia natives are, especially Chuck Halley. Halley is a Wheeling native. He spent 3 seasons in Morgantown, and he is the only player in NFL history to win the Super Bowl MVP for the losing team. Now, younger people do know the name Darius Stills. Stills spent the last 4 seasons representing his home state. Stills is a Fairmont, West Virginia native, and he says that players from West Virginia can compete with anyone from any state.
It means a lot because when I was younger, I'd go to football camps and they'd be like, "Where are you from? Where are you from?" I'd be like, "West Virginia." They're like, "Oh, they got football players up there?" What? I'm like, "Yeah, we're just as good as everybody else. There's just not many of us. You just gotta just find them." And ever since then, I've just believed in that, and now I'm proof that there's ballers here. You just gotta just find them. And y'all, because we're not from Florida or Texas, California, that don't mean we can't play ball. We got Randy Moss, one of the Hall of Fames coming out of West Virginia. Ryan Switzer. We have a lot of people, and just I want to be that person that they name also. So that's my dream.
The team will continue activities for the next 3 weeks, leading up to April 24th when the two compete in the annual Gold and Blue game. For Mountaineer Playbook, I'm Taylor Kennedy.
Thanks, Taylor. Let's flip it over to gymnastics for our next story.
Last year, the WVU gymnastics team had their season cut short right before postseason meets. This year was not that taken from them. Taylor Bresnick has more.
WVU will be hosting the NCAA Regionals this weekend for the 11th time in program history. The Mountaineers defeated Penn State in the play-in round on Thursday with a score of 195.95. The Mountaineers will now advance to Friday, where they will compete against Michigan, UCLA, and Kent State. Other teams in attendance include Cal, BYU, Ohio State, and Towson. The top 2 teams from each session will advance to the regional final, which will be held on Saturday. With the team peaking at the end of the season, Coach Butts is proud of his team's resilience.
It's been one of those seasons. It's been a little bit crazy up and down, with COVID and, delay in training and really just a little bit of everything. And this team has been so resilient and persevered through so much unknown. And
WVU last hosted this event in 2017, where they earned a regional record score and placed 3rd. This is WVU's 6th consecutive qualification. Coach Butts says that his team's hard work and practice helped them achieve their best bars performances of the season.
They just kept coming in the gym and putting in the numbers, and their confidence kept getting better and better and better. And, through a higher confidence level, they were able to focus on fixing some of the little things. And, they turned that event into one that was just fun and almost one that we knew we were going to hit.
All 3 days of competition will be streamed live on ESPN3. Fans can purchase tickets online at wvugame.com or at the Mountaineer ticket office. I'm Taylor Bresnick for Mountaineer Playbook, Morgantown.
Thanks, Taylor. David Dixon is the 25th Mountaineer to reach All-American status in swimming and diving. Ireland Viscount has more on the story.
The NCAA for the swim and dive team was wrapped up last week, and all 4 men succeeded in their events. But one of those 4 men earned an honorable All-American mention after placing 12th overall, and that was David Dixon.
Personally as well, this is something that I've been working towards for basically my entire collegiate career. I've been to NCAAs twice before, and I haven't ever made finals before. So I was never I never got that All-American status until this year. So just seeing that and it shows how much I've improved even this year.
Receiving this All-American mention would make David the 25th Mountaineer ever to receive this honor.
Just the support that I've gotten from the team, and how, this year has been anything but easy, but everybody is pulled together, and it's always really nice, when you finish your event at North Carolina and you warm down and you get back up to the stands and look at your phone and you have 17 messages in the group chat from all these boys sending their support and just being super happy for what you've done. So it really makes me proud to represent the Flying WV and just our team as a whole.
As David is a senior this year, he will be continuing next year with the Mountaineers in hopes of defending his title.
For Mountaineer Playbook, I'm Ireland Viscount.
David said he wanted to make the WV proud, and I certainly think he's done that. With that, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've got volleyball, soccer, and golf coming your way on Mountaineer Playbook.
I'm Caitlin Janda, and coming up today on Mountaineer Playbook, I'm going to tell you how high school and collegiate volleyball were affected by COVID-19.
I'm Cooper Zent, and coming up on Mountaineer Playbook, I'll tell you how Ike Swiger's recent run of form could help boost the Mountaineers to the College Cup.
I'm Chandler Stumler. Coming up in Mountaineer Playbook, I'm going to tell you why the Wvu Golf Classic is going virtual this year.
We conquer mountains, but that's not why they call us Mountaineers. It's because we don't let anything stand in our way. We build what's never been built, seek cures for the incurable, and go first into undiscovered frontiers. We are Mountaineers, and impossible is just another mountain to climb.
You're watching the 4th episode of this season's Mountaineer Playbook, the Reed College's student-produced sports show, and we still got some great stories on deck.
You're absolutely right, Mark. Of all the sports in West Virginia, volleyball has been hit particularly hard by COVID-19 protocols in both the high school and collegiate level. Caitlin Janda has a story on that struggle.
COVID-19 has disrupted many sports throughout this last year. Volleyball has taken the hardest hit from high school to Division I.
It presented a lot of challenges because it was a week-to-week caller code system. So you had to wait till every Saturday to see if your schedule was going to be the same, if you had to change the schedule, if you could play at all. So it was really kind of hard to keep the kids focused.
While the season was stop and go, Barry Clendenin and his team were able to set a path into the 2020 West Virginia State Tournament. Unfortunately, this moment was short-lived.
We knew the numbers had been trending up, and the downfall for our team was on the Saturday of the regionals, which if you were first or second in the regionals, you qualified to go to the state tournament, which we did. And during our second set of the day, or match of the day, it was during the 5 o'clock time period when the new map was supposed to come out, and it was delayed till 7 o'clock. Then it was delayed till 9 o'clock, and it didn't come out till 11:30 at night that we found out we were in orange, and our team, as well as a couple others across the state, wouldn't get to play.
While this was happening to Buffalo High School's volleyball team, the 8-8 WVU volleyball team had their season postponed after their last game on November 20th. Now, in March, they are finally getting a reboot, but there's a catch. Only 48 teams will qualify for the NCAA National Tournament instead of the standard 64.
It's going to leave some teams out that maybe should have been in the tournament, if there were 64 teams. So that's a bummer that, every team's working hard to get to that point where, that's the reward to having a good season. And, I just hope we're one of them.
The National Championship is scheduled for April 24th in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm Caitlin Janda, Mountaineer Playbook, Morgantown.
Thanks, Caitlin. Unfortunately, the NCAA tournament recently released their bracket, and it did not include the Mountaineers. The Big 12 will be represented by Texas and Baylor this time next week.
Earlier, we discussed a player in Alec Manoa who left West Virginia and is making the school proud. On the flip side, Ike Swiger, a Fairmont native, has transferred to Morgantown and is having a big impact on the men's soccer team. Cooper Zent has more on the striker.
The in-state talent for West Virginia University is no joke, and on the men's soccer team, some key players are lighting it up for the Mountaineers. Like Jalen Bridges under Bob Huggins and Darius Stills under Neil Brown, Ike Swiger is making a name for himself under Dan Stratford. Swiger started his college career at Bowling Green State University before transferring to West Virginia University once Stratford was named the new head coach in 2019. In addition to Swiger, Stratford added another in-state player, Elijah Borneo. Growing up around Morgantown, the two played club soccer together before being key parts to the Mountaineers' success this season. Borneo has strengthened the Mountaineer defense and helped them to 4 clean sheets so far this season. Swiger has started the past 3 games for the Mountaineers and scored 3 goals in those games.
I've just really been focused on just doing everything, doing my roles, everything I need to be doing. And I feel really good about it. My confidence has gone up a ton.
Swiger scored a brace against Western Michigan and scored the only goal of the game against number 8 ranked Marshall University. Before his goal against the Thundering Herd, no player from the state of West Virginia had scored for the Mountaineers since Nick Claudio in 2011. The Mountaineers have won 3 games in a row and sit second behind Bowling Green. The conference winner will represent the MAC in the College Cup in mid-May. One twist: only 36 teams will qualify for the tourney instead of the usual 48. Stratford wants to prove a point and take this program to the next level.
I mean, I want to be able to achieve the same level of success that I had at Charleston here.
The next time the Mountaineers take the field will be at Akron University on April 7th at 7 p.m. I'm Cooper Zent, Mountaineer Playbook, Morgantown.
Thanks, Cooper. It has been a long time since a West Virginian has scored in that program, and he has done it 3 times in 2 games. The team is lucky to have him.
I agree. Now let's move on to our last story of the day. The Wvu Golf Classic is still happening this summer, and one can compete from anywhere in the world. From Dubai to Morgantown, Chandler Stumler has more on this unique opportunity.
Wvu Golf Classic is going virtual this year due to COVID-19. The event supports Wvu Athletics.
I think it'll be cool to see, this is going to be very social media heavy, hopefully, at least from what we've seen with the 5K. Everybody on that weekend seeing their pictures, and we're asking everybody to hashtag Wvu Classic and sharing their photos that way. It's going to be really neat to see all the different views of the courses and all around the country, we already had some people register from North Carolina and in Florida. We'll have somebody from Dubai, and then of course in the state too. So it'll be really neat to see everybody, even though they can't be together, still golfing kind of together the same weekend and seeing all the flying WVs, all the gold and blue, all over the golf courses and on social media.
Wvu Athletics relies on this event for $100,000 annually in support of our student athletes here at WVU. Jeff Christian talks about what he thinks it means.
The event started out much different than what it is now. The event was actually a weekend-long in-person event that had everything from a golf tournament to tennis to a fashion show. There were couples events. And probably in the first 20 years of the existence of this, I don't know if it was much of a fundraiser or how much money it actually raised. Actually, in some years, it just broke even. But the whole idea was really just kind of continuing on the Wvu brand, bringing back coaches.
The Wvu Golf Classic will be June 10th through the 13th. The last day to register is April 30th. For Mountaineer Playbook, I'm Chandler Stumler, Morgantown.
Typically, this event was a great way for people to come together, but the pandemic hasn't completely eliminated your chance to support WVU athletics. Thanks, Chandler.
That wraps up this episode of Mountaineer Playbook. We hope you enjoyed the show. I'm Mark Schoenster.
And I'm Ireland Viscount. We've got a special show planned for you in 2 weeks, and you won't want to miss it. But until then, have a good one.